Welcome to the HerBusiness Podcast, where we dive deep into the stories of women entrepreneurs making their mark. I'm Susie Daphnis. Today is an extra special episode because we don't have one guest, we actually have three. Now, there's a saying that success leaves clues, and in this episode, we're going to uncover those clues by sharing the stories of three remarkable women business owners who have achieved 6- and 7-figure businesses. Now, during this panel discussion, we're going to be peeling back the curtain on how they started their businesses, when they began to thrive, the major struggles and challenges they experienced on their journeys, and a whole lot more. Now, these aren't just success stories, they're actually real, relatable conversations that have gold nuggets of information for you and tips and strategies. And I really think tuning in is going to help you take your business forward. We're talking about mindsets that'll take you from just making it to genuinely thriving in your business. And we're talking about the specific decisions that they made that led to the success in their business. We're talking about imposter syndrome, being a woman in business, trusting yourself to overcome the challenges of running a business and all the things that life will throw you along the way. This is a really incredible episode, and I can't wait for you to hear from these incredible women. Hey there, it's Susie. Have you ever felt that being your own boss is a little harder than you imagined it would be? That actually growing a business is very, very different to just starting a business? Or maybe you felt that it's a little bit lonely some days. Well, today we're talking to three successful entrepreneurs who've grown their businesses from scratch to high 6, 7 figures, growing a team, putting in place plans, developing products and services that they really love. And they're going to be peeling away the curtain to show you how they've overcome different mindset blocks. They've changed what they do in their business. They've designed business models that actually work for them. And they're going to give us the highs and the lows and everything in between. This is an opportunity for you to get the real life stories of entrepreneurs who are perhaps doing some of the things that you want to be doing in your business. So, what does having a profitable business allow you? Firstly, it means you have a reliable income. It means you can pay yourself, and it means that you can afford team and resources and the right technology reliably. So no up and down months, but really a reliable income you can count on. You can hire a team, and this is such an important part of running a business. So hiring a team, we're going to talk today about how these business owners are actually bringing people around them to help them grow their businesses. And when we talk about team at HerBusiness, we don't just mean people who are on your payroll. We also mean those that are peers, mentors, accountability group members, suppliers, contractors, the person that works behind the scenes of your website to make it work, the bookkeeper who makes sure that you are going towards your budget and your projections. You can also, when you have a profitable business, make an impact on your family, on your faith, on your community, on your clients, a lot more than if you're not making a profit. But you can also realize some long-held goals. Now, you may have a goal to go to a retreat in Bali. You may have a goal to write a book. When you have a profitable business and you're not worrying about money every single day, it can allow you to do those sorts of things. Or joining a mastermind. Maybe that's something you've had on your list. But unless you have a profitable, growing business, it's hard to realize some of these goals. Or traveling. I love to travel. I love to travel. Maybe you love to travel too. And so for me, creating a profitable business was about being able to travel long distances when I wanted to, with whom I wanted to, whenever I wanted to, and to make investments. Because as business owners, you can be in business for 10, 20, 30 years, but if you're not putting some of that money aside and you're just relying on selling your business to create an income, then you could be missing out on an opportunity to actually create leveraged income right now. So I could say a lot more about that, but we're going to move on. Here are some of the challenges that we've seen with women business owners. One is getting the right systems in place. But before that, it's this idea that we throw spaghetti against the wall, hoping something will stick, or we just can't get out of working in the business to work on the business. And we'll talk a bit about that today. The other challenge is not having a plan, not having a process for growing your business. And believe it or not, while businesses will grow organically for a little bit, there comes a point where you need to put in place structures on how you develop your team, how you develop your products and services, what your pricing looks like, what your calendar looks like, what your lead acquisition looks like. And you're always squeezed for time. So how do you make time for the things that really matter? And how do you go from a difficult feeling business, even though you might love it, to one that feels a little easier, a little like these ABC blocks, and one that actually fuels you, where you actually are enjoying yourself. Our tagline at Her Business is do what you love every day. And you're going to hear how our business owners today are approaching their business so that they get to do more of what they love every day. And really, if you are not serious about your business, it's likely going to remain a hobby. So today we're going to be talking about how to put the CEO hat on your head squarely and actually go towards growing your business and stop this roller coaster of growth, but really move forward. And we're going to talk about why you don't want to be doing it alone. Even if you're a solopreneur right now, there's no reason for you to be growing your business totally on your own when there's resources available for you to have around you: plans, mentors, teams, systems, advisors, boards, organizational structures that allow you to thrive. You'll also hear how being I'll talk more about doing less and obsessing later, how the Her Business Network has helped tens of thousands of women over the last 28 years to step back from doing everything and finally step into the leadership role, to realize that the business could be successful if they just got out of their own way. And you'll hear today stories of how women have changed their business model, their money model, they've broken the mold in their industry, and they've really been courageous around their business growth. So it is time for us to introduce our guests. So these are our guests, Amanda, Tina, and Naomi. I'm going to bring them on now so that they can introduce themselves, and we will go from there. Hello, ladies.
Hey.
All righty. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to be diving into a whole lot of questions. And what I'd love to do to start us off is have each of you introduce yourself. So if we could start with you, Amanda, then we'll go Tina, then Naomi. So just a couple of sentences to describe what it is, who you do it for, the pain or problem you solve, and how you deliver results for your customers. Amanda, off you go.
Hi there. I am Amanda Farmer and I am a lawyer. I help property owners to demystify the legal complexities of apartment living. And I do that inside an online membership community, which is called Your Strata Property.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Amanda. And Amanda's right now based in regional Victoria. She just shared with us an interesting story how she's on the front page of the paper today in a story all about city families moving to regional areas. So look out for that. Tina, what about you?
Hi, everyone. I'm Tina Hay, and I am the CEO of Puzzle Media. We are a digital marketing agency, and we support small business owners with their marketing and advertising and help them grow their business through strategic and tailored marketing plans.
Great. And we've been working with Tina and her team for well over a year now, supporting us with our digital marketing and our advertising and all those fun things. Naomi, coming to us from Tassie.
Thanks, Susie. So my business is called Brand Whisperers. So I help business owners create businesses that really work for them and fit them through their visual style in my one-on-one branding experience and through my business personality typing system, where I've got a quiz. You can take your business personality type quiz.
Right.
And my course called The Hamster Cure, aimed at creating a business that you love.
Oh, great. And getting off that little hamster wheel that I showed earlier. Very, very good. They say that success is in your head, and that has certainly been my understanding of business, and that a lot of what we create in our business, the success we create, starts with how we think about our business. And how we think about our business when we first get started changes over time. Tina, you've had your business, Puzzle Media, for 13 years. What had you shift your mindset to prioritize working in the business versus on the business? Because I know that you've made that shift.
Yeah, so it took a long time to make that shift. And I think what happens is, you kind of start off, you're working for yourself, you're kind of, squirreling away, doing what you can. And what happens is you get maxed out because there's only so many hours in the day. So you can then choose to work ridiculous hours, but then that's not very conducive to work-life balance. So I guess I got to the point, and it's been a slow burn, the 13 years, it's a slow burn. I've raised a family during that time as well, and still raising. My job is not done. But I think what happened for me certainly was I was working with a coach at the time, and it was I needed someone else to kind of look at it for me, because it's really difficult to see what's right in front of you, I think, when you're in your own business. I'm better at doing it now that I've been going for such a long time, but I still need someone to kind of say, hey, that's not the best way of doing things. So for me, it was really that I'd kind of maxed out what I was, I'd hit my 6 figures. It was all great. And then it was, well, where to from here? We had clients asking for other services that I knew that I could definitely facilitate, but I just couldn't physically do all of the work myself. So my first hire was a lady in the Philippines who helped me with some social media content and our clients with social media, and that she ended up staying with us for about 5 years. And then it just, I realized how easy it was to then
right. That's a really great
kind of
point.
To just delegate. So and I've kind of done that ever since.
Yeah, and I know for me, if I was to go back and start again, I'm just going to turn my air conditioning off. One of the first things I would do sooner is to hire. And because once you start and you buy back some of your time, it becomes so much easier to say, oh, that role's probably not the most income producing activity either. Maybe I can hand that off. Now, Amanda, as a lawyer, working one-on-one with clients, either side of the desk, and having, a team of lawyers working for you is kind of the standard model in your business. But you broke that mold very early on and decided that you didn't want to work one-on-one. You wanted to work one to many. So you seem to have really broken through with that, and you're growing a fantastic business. But tell us about the decision to think very differently about your business model than other people in your industry.
Yeah, look, it was a tough decision to make and a hard mindset shift to step into, because as you said, I come from a very traditional profession, lawyering, one of the oldest professions out there, and there is a way to lawyer successfully, or so we're told. And it is to run a firm, take on employees, have partners, have junior lawyers. They're all out there on their hamster wheels doing their billable hours and increasing your bottom line. And that's the way that you make money and have a successful business in law. That's how I was taught, and that's what I see others doing in my space. I got to a stage, I had the employed lawyers. We were all doing the billable hours. I felt like I was spinning my wheels a bit and not really getting to where I wanted to be without putting in 80+ hour weeks and having issues with team and constantly being concerned about what my team was producing and how they were performing. And my business reached a stage where a couple of team members moved on, and I was looking at rehiring to replace them. And I had a chat with you, Susie. I remember this really clearly. And I remember saying, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it this way. I want to do it my way. And I want to run this business. I want to be the only lawyer. I know I need great support to be able to do that. I want to charge for my value. I want to do the work I want to do with the clients I want to work with. And I remember you. And at that stage, I felt really quite distressed about it. And you said, stop. Yeah, you can. You can do all of that. If that is what you want, you can do it. And you really gave me that permission to turn that dream into a reality. And that was now about 5 or 6 years ago. And that's really what I've stepped into. I've found a way to stop trading time for money, to build a packaged service that I can then leverage. I've got a great team around me. I'm still the only lawyer in my practice. And I've built something really unique in my space because I've had that permission from those who support me to do it.
Well, you've been so clear about wanting that once you sort of latched onto that. And I remember a few years ago now, you said, well, in the next year, I want 30% of my income to come from non-client facing work. And you set about creating a model of the business that allowed you to do that. Now, that's now gone over 50%, as I understand. And so it didn't happen overnight. But it has happened, as the old L'Oreal commercial says. Naomi, one of the mindsets that you've had is that as a business owner, you realize you need to be planning a whole lot further ahead than perhaps you originally thought. Could you talk to us about that?
Yes, I think when you start out, you're just looking to get your next customer or the next few customers, and that's great. And things can happen a little bit organically, and you start to get referrals. But then, as you start to get bigger or start to employ other people or bring other things in, the stakes get a little bit higher. And if you just wing it, it starts to get really stressful. So instead of sort of looking at next month, I found that I was looking at, well, I need to be looking at least 3 to 6 months ahead and doing the actions now for then, rather than, well, where's next month's work coming from?
Yeah, that's a really great point. And that's one of the reasons, and I'll talk about it a little later on, we've developed like a 12-month plan. So we encourage our members to create a 12-month vision for the business. We call it your big kahuna vision, kahuna being the chief in Hawaiian language. And then working back from there, well, what needs to happen at the 9-month period, the 6-month period, the 3-month period? And especially when we start to, whether you're a solopreneur or you have a team, that's still essentially important, because it gives you that clarity. It gives you that focus. You're not squirreling down holes and roads that you don't need to be. And so inside of HerBusiness, we have a strategic planning framework, and I'll share that later on. And we also have now, for those members who are joining us, or you're thinking of joining us, we actually have a 12-month plan, which I'll share a little later on as well, of how you can start to think further out. And that is, I think, as you mature as a business owner, Naomi, you realize that you can't just be, on the back foot or just being just in time, especially when you start to bring other people around you who are looking to you for leadership and looking to say, well, why are we doing this? How does it make sense to what our 12-month goal is? Thank you all for those answers. One of the things that I know also changed for me as the business grew was I had to decide to do things in my business and stop doing other things, and to really decide what were those things, what were the income producing things, what were the things that were really my genius. Now, that doesn't mean I don't still do some things that are ridiculous that I'm doing them, but most of the time I'm stepping into the role of doing that is more leverage. So Amanda, I'm going to come back to you. You're doing some high leverage activities. You said you're the only lawyer, but as far as acquiring clients and growing the business, you're doing some high leverage activities that is so different to one-to-one to one-to-many. Go ahead and tell us about, again, how you've changed your model so that you can do different things to grow your business.
Well, breaking away. Yeah, exactly. Breaking away from that time for money model has been the real shift in my business, and what is helping me grow quickly and in the way that I want to. So what I introduced to my business, I have an online membership community, I deliver education services, and I deliver a lot of those education services to strata managers, professional strata managers. They're people in my space who manage our apartment buildings. And I've put together a product which is quite a high ticket product, an education service that I offer to managers. And it's meant, in order to sell that product, I have to get on sales calls with clients and actually pitch my service to them, let them know what the price is, make an offer to them, let them know what the value is, what the next step is. And I've never had to do that in my role as a lawyer. Generally, I have the clients coming to me, this is my hourly rate, you pay the hourly rate, that's it, it's all done. So that's been a real change for me. And I've had to learn that doing that work, getting on those calls, making those sales is the most important thing, the most highly leveraged thing that I can be doing for my business right now. I love doing it. It's something new, and I'm learning how to get better and better at it. But telling myself, well, hang on, if I spend this time learning how to do it, getting on the call, I can actually make that high ticket sale, which is going to be fantastic for my bottom line. And that's where my focus needs to be. So different to what I love
that. I love that, because only you can you're the only person in the organization who could be doing that. Similarly, I know Tina, you operate at that level at the moment. And so, but that is the most important work for you to be doing. And there's other people who can do the other work. And that I know that, knowing you a little bit, it's not necessarily the easiest thing for you to do, but you're putting yourself in that spot because it's the most important thing for you to do. And I'm so happy for you, because I know once people get to see your brilliance, but sometimes we can shy away and we think, if I can just automate it, and clients come to me. But some of the times we do need to kind of be courageous in what we do in our business. Now, Naomi, when you could focus on anything in your business, you've prioritized money and marketing. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you approach that in your business?
Yes, absolutely. So as like I said, as my business was growing, I found that I had to start thinking much further out and then have a different approach to money and profit. So I've brought in a monthly financial review because before it was just earning my income, and now it's, looking at the profit margin of everything, and, including contractors' payments, and then tax, and then GST, and all those things on top of it. And when I started growing my business, from just being a brand strategist to a brand agency, what I found was that I was bringing in more money, but it was all going out to everybody else, and there was nothing left for me. And then I was like, I've grown this thing. I've spent so much time growing this. Why aren't I reaping the rewards for that? So I need to change my mindset.
I love that, because, there's some key areas. Like inside of HerBusiness, we have 8 areas. We call them our growth zones, and they're 8 areas of business that every business needs. At a business owner level, you can leverage some of those things. But the things that are important for us is to be on top of our marketing. How do we attract, convert, and keep our ideal clients, whether that's one-on-one selling or whatever the right model is for you? It is our money, and not having our head in the sand around where is that money going when it comes in the door, and which products are profitable and which are not. And am I pricing things the best way I can to make the most amount of money on those products and services? And do I have the right clients who will buy those products and services? So all those things. So money, marketing, mindset, which we're going to talk a little more about, and leadership. So they're kind of the 4 areas that I think that are really what takes a business from maybe humming along to really escalating. Now, Tina, you're working far less in the business than on the business these days. And I know, you're still working through that. You're not totally leveraged, but you are focusing on being more of the CEO. What does that have you doing more of and less of in your business?
Yeah, so I have a team around me, and pretty much everything, our client work is really looked after by the team, apart from when people go on leave or we're in between recruitment processes, and I step back in. But I am very, very hands-off on the actual physical day-to-day doing. What I get involved in is strategy, because that is something that I love. And
you're great at,
Yeah. Very much like Amanda, actually, I quickly learned what I need to be doing, and that was selling and building relationships. So with what we do, it's very much, people don't just kind of commit to signing up for a year off the back of a Facebook ad, unfortunately, and commit to, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 worth of investment in their business. They don't, it's not a simple sales process. It is a building and nurturing a relationship is how it happens. So my key focus is that, developing my team, making sure that my team are looked after, making sure that their needs are met, that they are getting the training that they need. And pretty much just running the show. So looking at my numbers, being a lot more hands-on with my numbers, understanding, looking at our supplier relationships that we have. We have a couple of key supplier relationships that allows us to do what we do, monitoring those, seeing how they're going. So it is, it's not so much the doing, it's the, I guess, looking after is what I kind of say. And of course you get pulled into lots of bits and pieces, but ultimately my key thing is looking after my staff, making sure our clients are okay, and selling, basically.
I love it. And, you said running the show. And I think that as business owners, that is our role. Our role as CEO is to run the show. We have a Slack thread. For those of you who don't know Slack, it's an instant messaging kind of system. And it has my name, and then, it has an option to put your role. And mine is ringleader, because that's how I feel. It's like, I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're working on. Here's the 12-month vision. Here's what we're going for. And, really creating the environment where clients can thrive and team members can thrive, and having clarity and focus. And it's hard to do that when you're the one packing orders, where you're the one doing all the customer support. And so I want to encourage you, if you're watching right now, the sooner that you can start to bring people around you to support you. And initially it might be a virtual assistant in the Philippines, like Tina mentioned, or a virtual assistant in Australia. It doesn't really matter where they are. But the thing is just to start somewhere, just to start to buy back your time. Even if your income, you're just knocking on the door of $100,000. Here's the thing, is like, for you to grow, I don't know many 6-figure, 7-figure businesses that don't have a team. And so you want to start to think about getting yourself out of the day-to-day, getting yourself into that Now, while we might have sorted a few things out in our business, all of us still have some sort of level of frustration and challenge about something in our business. Tina, what would that be for you?
Mine is the key frustration for me is finding this balance between wanting to be in the business full time and give it my all, but also wanting to commit to my family and give them my all as well. And I have struggled with that balance. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There are times it doesn't. I have a very supportive family. My husband and the kids, they understand, I do what I do. They're all incredibly proud of me. I'm proud of me, which is more important.
Yeah.
Finding that balance has been, I'm better at it now, but it goes back to the outsourcing and getting things off my plate so that I'm not in that day-to-day, so that I can go off. If I need to go off for, a couple of hours in the middle of the day, the business doesn't stop. If I need to go away for 2 weeks, the business doesn't stop. And so there's been a little bit of, finding the balance of, getting the right people in to be able to facilitate that. But I think for me, my biggest challenge is always the balance. It's the balance. Yeah.
And, I find that there are seasons, and sometimes, now I don't have children, so I'm in a different situation to some of you here, but I know that sometimes you just go hell for leather and you're just having to focus because there's a big account, there's something, there's a big promotion. But then when you do grow a profitable business, you can then balance that out with, okay, I'm just going to take 2 weeks off. I'm going to take the kids. We're going to go somewhere fun, or I'm just going to go and sit in a spa by myself because I don't want to talk to anybody, whatever that thing is. I love that. Let's all go.
Don't talk to me, anyone.
Yeah, right. And we need to. So inside of her business, I mentioned our growth zones earlier, and they include sort of what we call the outer game of business, things like planning and marketing and systems and technology and people and all those things. But the anchor for those growth zones is what we call the U growth zone. And that is also having the attention on your well-being, whether that's your physical, your emotional, your spiritual well-being, making sure that you are not burning yourself out, not overwhelmed, that you do find that balance. And that balance looks different for different people. For some, it's like, I want to take a vacation. For others, it's that, I just want to work 4 days a week and have 3 days with the family. For others, it is, I just want to stop having, working Sunday afternoons. For others, it's like, I'm happy to go heavy now because I've booked a month away in Europe that month. And so it's really finding what that cadence is for us, but always remembering that we are human beings who own a business. And so we want to also take care of ourselves. Thank you, Tina. Thank you for sharing that. Now, Naomi, talk to me about your recognition that generating new leads, bringing new people, attracting more people into our lives has been a frustration, but you're working on it. Tell us about that.
Yes, absolutely. So I've a little while ago shifted business models. So when I was doing the branding work and building a brand agency, what I focused on was creating an amazing service experience, which generated referrals. So it was sort of like it sort of happened automatically, and I didn't really need to think too much about it. So my service experience became my marketing. But then when I started to sort of scale my business to be a brand agency and realized that all I was doing was managing projects and scope creep, and if a project was losing profit, and it was so volatile that I sort of woke up one day and went, what am I doing? This isn't the business I thought I wanted to have. I wanted to be creative, which is where I founded my business personality typing system and went, this is the wrong model for me. And I created a course from that and moved into a different model, which is a signature course, which doesn't grow so well on referrals. Like, it helps. You can still create a great service experience and create referrals, but all of a sudden I'm like, I need much more visibility and awareness and lead generation to get this up. So that is a whole new world that I didn't really have to do before, that I'm crafting content and being clear on my message and reaching bigger audiences that I've never had before.
And that's really interesting because especially when we're new in business and we've got a lot of our hustle on and we can just rely on word of mouth and whatever. But when we change our business model, like you said, we sometimes need to change the way that we attract, convert, and keep our ideal clients. And that is, just something to learn, right? Because you have the ability, it's just putting yourself in the way of that great marketing content and information. And as a brand strategist, you already understand brand and messaging and all those things. So then it's just about, knowing that that's the way it used to be, and it'll be great. We may still have a referral system in place, but then this is how we're generating all these leads. Very, very, very good. I want to now talk about mindset, because here at Her Business, one of the things we do is we work on both the inner and the outer game of business. And by that, I mean the outer game of business is the practical strategies of how to grow a business and how to recruit staff and how to market. But we also work on the inner game, imposter syndrome, being more visible without feeling icky about it, resilience, grit, noticing when we have upper limit thinking that is keeping us right where we are. Because you can have all the marketing skills in the world, you can have the best Facebook ads, you can have a great team, but if what's going on in your mindset is not healthy, is not deserving, you don't feel deserving of what you're creating, then you can really put a lid on your success. Now, this is one of my favorite conversations to have, because mindset is like, I feel like that's where we create our future. We create it first in our mind, and then we do and show up as the person who can have the business that you want to have. So you want to be able to have what it is that you say you want. And so it starts with saying, this is what I want, and having a clear vision. But how do I get that? I need to be willing to be the person who shows up like a successful CEO. Naomi, talk to me about imposter syndrome and feeling like, who am I to be growing this incredible business?
I wonder if I'm not sure, but I wonder if imposter syndrome is something that all of us have. It seems to be a very common thing. And I was sort of in the beginning waiting for that to go away. Like one day I will learn enough and know enough that I won't feel that anymore. And in fact, I found the more that I know and the more that I learn, the less confidence I have in some ways in terms of that imposter syndrome. So it's sort of like, I don't know that if you know that book, First We Make the Beast Beautiful, about anxiety. So it's like you don't try and make anxiety go away, you befriend it. And that's what I sort of feel like about imposter syndrome. It's like, I'm not trying to make you go away anymore. Just, it's okay. I just sort of sit beside you. It's okay. Just keep going anyway.
I love it. For 20 years, we inducted women into the Business Women's Hall of Fame. And so these are women across all sorts of industries who we recognised, whose stories we thought needed to be told. And so for 20 years, we brought women into our Business Women's Hall of Fame. And every year we asked them what their strategies for success were. And we also asked them what the stumbling blocks were for them. And without doubt, all these women would say imposter syndrome. And it looked different for different people. So it didn't seem to go away. They may have had imposter syndrome when they broke through their first 100,000, but when they hit 1 million, it was different. When they were recognized in an award, they felt like an imposter again. So I think it is something. And I remember, I don't know if it was Brené Brown or somebody saying what to do with it. Like when you feel that there, imagine that you're in a car and you say, great, you just take a seat in the back seat because I've got this. You can stay, hang out back there, because I'm driving this bus. Thank you. Now, Tina, one of the things you said to me is that you are earning more and working less than ever before, but stepping into that from a mindset perspective hasn't always been easy for you. Could you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm from a family that, had very much working class values of, if you want success, you need to work really hard, you need to work long hours, you need to do, live life a certain way. And so I've had to break those stories down, stories that I've told myself, and be okay with earning more money and not having to work every single day and not having to work when I'm on holiday, not have to work Fridays and not having to work weekends. And so that has been, I've been sort of into, you say you can talk about mindset. I could talk about mindset all day because I think that it is absolutely key to having a successful business. Really being clear on, where you're going helps with that, but working on the stories. It's all stories that we're telling ourselves, right? They're all stories. It doesn't stop us telling ourselves those stories, but we have to also learn how to catch it. One thing that I have found really has helped me along the way is just being around other people that are at similar stages of business, because the more you talk to people, including people in the HerBusiness network, you understand that, actually it isn't just me. It isn't just me that's feeling a bit nervous about standing up on stage and speaking, or going and, experimenting with Instagram reels, or doing whatever it is that you're doing. And so that kind of imposter syndrome and that story that you tell yourself. But yeah, really, I guess the earning more and working less, that's the dream, isn't it? That's the dream. And it's really, it still feels slightly uncomfortable to be sitting there here kind of saying, yeah, actually, we're doing okay in the business, and I am working less than I was 5 years ago. And just being okay with that, and just sitting with that, and being a bit uncomfortable, but sitting with that.
That is, you said, it's the dream. But, so many of us fail to realize it because our mindset has those stories, which is, unless you're working, it's not, you can't have the money. I grew up in I'm first generation Greek Australian, as I know you know, Tina. And so it was like, you work hard to earn money. If you're not working hard, then don't expect anything. So I felt like I could only deserve the income I had and the wealth I had if I was always working hard. And I know I've still got a little bit of that. I know that's still going on a little bit.
I do as well. I do too. I'm working on it constantly. That's the other thing. It's constantly working, right? It's constantly working on yourself. It's not you do the work and that's it. It's it's constant.
So here's what I want to do. There's 3 amazing women here on with me. They've only just met today. They may have seen each other inside the community, but only actually got to talk a little bit before we started today. And I invited them to ask questions of each other, because when we are a woman business owner, we want trusted answers from people who we respect, people who are doing interesting things, people who we want to inquire about. So Amanda, I'm going to ask you if you'd be willing to ask a question of Tina.
I would love to. I think you are fabulous and your business is fabulous. And just hearing you talk about how you are doing less but still making more is really inspirational to me. So I was wondering how you've taken that step back. I think you said that you're pretty hands-off with the doing now, and you're doing that more strategic, higher level stuff. For somebody who maybe, not mentioning any names, struggling to do that, what would your tip be for maybe the first thing that I could do to really get better at that stepping back?
So I was given this amazing tip years ago, and I bring this out all the time because it helped me so much. When you are sitting at your desk doing whatever you're doing, make a note, just a piece of paper, okay? You make a note. What is it? I'm doing accounts, I'm doing payroll, I'm doing whatever, admin, I'm booking meetings, okay? And then you go through that list at the end of the week and you say, what produced money and what did not, okay? And it is, sometimes you don't want to let go. So I've had about 3 or 4 attempts at someone managing my inbox because they've come in and manage it. I'm like, oh no, I need it. I have found someone who manages my inbox. That in itself has freed up so much headspace. And what happens is, even if it's one thing, you start with one thing that you say, okay, I'm doing this, it's taking a bit of time, it's not actually making any money. Who can I get to help me? Who do I know that can help me? And if you don't know, obviously, you've got the HerBusiness community. But really doing that and doing it, I've done it at several stages of my business. And sometimes I do get kind of caught back into doing the stuff. But yeah, doing that list and then realizing, actually, I don't need to be the one that does that. So there's certain things it has to be you, right? And then there's certain things where it doesn't. And we kid ourselves that no one can do it as good as us, right? Yeah. But actually, there's a heap of talented people out there that, with some guidance from you, probably can do it. Maybe not quite as good, but close to.
There's a great saying, which is 80% done by someone else is 100% awesome. And so I want to sort of throw that in the mix because they're not probably going to get it right. And I understand I've been a micromanager, but the only way for us to go is to start to take some of those steps. Thank you. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Tina. Tina, would you ask Naomi a question?
Yes, Naomi. So I would love to just, you said that you're running an agency, but you're kind of like shifted into doing more of the consulting. Are you still, what does that look like in your business? And how has that changed your kind of day-to-day? Kind of two questions.
Yes. So when I was trying to grow an agency, my day-to-day started to be managing projects and scope creep and profitability and deadlines and why haven't clients got back to us? And it felt like this just precarious, chaotic sort of mess that could go wrong at any second. So when I decided to shift gears and shift business models, I've gone back to being a high ticket one-on-one branding experience expert. So my service experience for my branding, I have worked really hard on to make an incredible service. So I'm known for this lovely brand experience, which then allowed me to increase my prices because people want to work with me, which means I've got a lot more time. So instead of just trying to fit 10 branding projects into a month, now I can do one a month by myself. And so that's given me the time to now create this course about business personalities and, creating a business that works for you, which is now scalable. So that element is scalable. I've created the course. And so now my day-to-day is doing that lovely branding experience for people. Wonderful. And then creating like, what else can I put in the course to make it better? How can I create awareness so more people know about this? So a really massive shift. And I'm doing the role I want to do in my business a lot more.
That's so good. Very cool. Yeah. And so we have a model inside of HerBusiness, which is like, once you get in your mind how you want your business to look like, then you look at the model and go, well, is this business model going to allow me to have that? And then once you can line those things up, the money flows. The money, you'll figure that bit out. But it's really starting with knowing what it is you're trying to do. And then look at the joy in Naomi when she started to talk about the difference in how she's, serving one client more deeply. And we get to choose. That's the thing. We get to choose our model, our marketing, our ideal clients, all those things. Naomi, do you have a question for Amanda?
Oh, I've been waiting. Amanda, I think what you're doing is so brilliant, and I love that you've sort of broken that mold of doing what lawyers do and making it your own. And I feel lucky that you're here today. So I feel like you've taken a one-on-one high consulting model and turned it into the membership model, where I'm imagining you needed a much bigger awareness to be profitable. So my question is, how did you find that shift in terms of needing to be more visible and more people knowing about your business, and how did you achieve that?
Yeah, so I think understanding that visibility and putting yourself out there is so important to your business growth is the first thing. Often as women, we kind of want to hide under that blanket and say, look, I like what I do, but I'm happy to just do it over here and nobody needs to pay attention to me. Or we might be critical of those who do put themselves out there and, oh, she's all about her, or we might think that's what people are judging us if I put myself out there. And I think that's part of a mindset shift, that you have to step out of that and say, change that, who am I to be doing this to? Well, who am I not to? There are people out there who need what I am producing. And if there aren't people out there who need what you're producing the wrong thing. So I guarantee that all of us women business owners who are working hard in our business, we have something that people need and people want. And when you tell that to yourself, it allows you to step outside of yourself and how you feel and what you want, and to say, no, I need to be doing more PR. I need to be doing more socials. I need to be getting on lives. I need to be doing all of that so I can reach more people and I can help more people. And when I shift my mindset into that space, that really helps me. And showing up here in the HerBusiness Network and saying, committing to network members, saying, you know what, I want to get more PR. I want to be famous in the space that I serve. And knowing that this is a safe space where I can say that and you'll get it and you'll support me in that. And then sometimes, it's kind of freaky how powerful this group is, because you say stuff and then it happens. Like, it's a bit scary. So just stepping into that role, I think taking that leap and saying, this is not about me, it's about the people that I'm serving. That's how I've been able to become more visible and realize how that drives that more leveraged side of my business.
Wow, thank you.
I love that. I love the questions you ask each other. So insightful. And again, when you find people who are going in similar directions, the conversations get so rich. And these are the conversations happening every day inside the Her Business Network. I want to thank Tina, Naomi, and Amanda for being incredible and sharing their business growth stories with us. You're all awesome. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much. I want to give a huge thank you to Amanda, Naomi, and Tina for joining me on the show today. They're all incredible women who are doing amazing things in their industries. And I think the common theme between them is this idea of trusting yourself to do something different. Now, all three of them did something really unique and had the courage to try it out. Now, each of these women took the time to try something new, and they believed they could forge their own path. They could go down a path that hadn't been walked before. But on top of that, they each know that just because they were trusting themselves and going out on their own didn't mean they had to do everything alone. They still got support from other people. They still had a community around them to lean on, a support system to pick them up when they were faced with roadblocks and barriers. And that support doesn't come from peers and networks. Each of them also learned lessons in how to leverage their time to make the most out of what they were doing. Now, Amanda, Tina, and Naomi all realized at one point or another that their time was best spent on higher level projects. And I love that message. That it made more sense for them to hire someone to do some of their other tasks in their business so that they could focus on where they were really needed, on where they would thrive most, and where their input would help their business thrive more. Now, each of them got support both internally and externally. And now their businesses are on fire. So I want to encourage you to take a look at your support system. Do you have support in different areas? Do you have someone to bounce ideas off when you've got something brewing? Do you have someone there for you for emotional support when you're going through a rough patch in your business and need someone to pick you up? Do you have someone there to help you get day-to-day tasks done so that you don't have your head stuck in the sand day in and day out? Because to run a successful business, we need support in all these different levels and different areas of business. Each of our guests today got support both internally and externally. I want you to remember that. I want to thank all three of them. They're all members of the Her Business Network, and I adore them. I want to thank them for chatting with me, and I hope that you've gotten as much value and inspiration as I did from speaking with them. And if you'd like more information about Amanda, Naomi, or Tina and their journeys, you're going to find that information in the show notes for this episode. So over at herbusiness.com/274, you're going to find a summary of what we've covered today, as well as links to connect with these wonderful, wonderful speakers and business owners and extraordinary women. And if you'd like to join us and be part of a network where women like this are the women that you're going to be networking with, then head on over to herbusinessnetwork.com today. So I love doing this show for you. I appreciate you listening and sharing the show with your friends. I love it when I get a comment from you that you enjoyed something or you implemented something. And so if something you heard here today is putting you into action, would you send me an email and let me know? You can email me at podcast@herbusiness.com. But you can also head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating or review. That way we get the word out about the show, we get more women listening, we get more women sharing the knowledge and tips and strategies from guests like my three guests today. If you're new to the show, be sure to subscribe. I'll see you next time right here on the Her Business Podcast. Thank you so much for listening.